Hello, Biohacker Nation. We're back once again. Of course, this is Dr. Brandon along with the Mad Scientist.
It's Jim. What's up?
Hello, Jim. We have a third person here in the wonderful studio again.
We have world-class trainer from Ovox over in Morganville, Jared Rappoport.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Doing good, Jared. Well, before we start going, we're going to do the usual disclaimer.
Yes, everyone's favorite part of the show.
So anything you hear today is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. Everything you hear is for educational purposes and educational purposes only. Go find a competent, and I do stress competent doctor if your arm is falling off. Probably should call 911 for that.
They should be competent.
Competent enough to call 911?
I'm not going to go look for a doctor to make that call, but wait for them to respond. But anyway, continuing.
And continuing on. Alright. As I'm sitting here on a punching bag in our wonderful studio here in Sayreville, and I've got Jack Skellington looking at me, yes, a real skeleton looking at me, I think to myself, we're putting in a lot of time and effort, and we want to continue to put on this time and effort each and every week for our listeners and our very large growing Biohacker Nation, so we do thank everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
But not only do we ask you to subscribe, either on iTunes or Google Play, many of the different podcast players available through Google Play. It's pretty easy through Apple iTunes. There's one. But hit the subscribe button, tell your family and friends, and if they're going to be too lazy to actually do it, and they just keep on saying, yeah, that's a good idea, grab their phones and hit the button.
That's what Jim did for me.
Yeah, and here
it
you
worked,
are.
right?
Yep.
Here I am.
You're on the show. It's for it.
Thanks, Jim.
We also ask, when you go to our page, biohackhumans.com, on the right-hand corner, it says donate. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. So, at this time of being a 501c3 nonprofit, your donation may be deductible. Please ask your competent CPA before trying to do anything silly. But regardless, if you like what you hear, we do appreciate your support, and you actually do get stuff, more than just shout-outs and t-shirts and gear. You can get some advertising, spots on the show, regular appearances on the show, to reach our soon-to-be millions and millions of followers and listeners each and every week.
That's many millions. But yeah, let us, help us help you, and help everybody else by getting all of our content out there for us.
I'd like to do a quick little update on
our good friend Great Dane.
Great Dane, Dane Cooch, over at Dirty Strong, currently in Robbinsville. All right.
So for those who don't remember, we made a little bet with him when he came on the show a couple weeks back about going into a ketosis and a keto diet for 30 days straight.
No, it was the intermittent fasting podcast. If anyone's curious about that one, it was awesome.
But we said we got him to say, well, go for it. But the bet was if he ended up failing from our random testing, that we would get to do a little stunt, most likely videotapes.
We would dry shave his head. Totally bald. And we even put out a poll on the Instagram page.
That was a great response.
And the funniest part was when you can actually see who voted for and against him shaving his head.
There was one person, right?
Dane was the only one that said don't shave his head.
What doesn't he have a girlfriend?
She does have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she did vote as well. I'm just not going to say anything, but let's just say Dane is the only one that voted no.
So, just to let you know why we put the little vote up there, is that there was a questionable result. By questionable means Dane was questioning it when it looked like it was a failed test.
It was a random urinalysis that we caught Dane on. And he was not expecting it, and the urinalysis, I'll give him credit, showed... Yeah, trace, Jared. Very, 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 very
kind of like
trace.
when you wake up in the morning.
So what that means is that he didn't eat a bunch of pasta and potatoes the night before. The morning before.
He claims that currently, the update as of yesterday, he said that he now has a larger amount of ketones in his system.
Good know he started eating back on low carbs.
Unless he went and got some exogenous ketones and then did a urinalysis immediately thereafter.
He probably just went over on his protein.
Very good chance he went over on his protein.
Yeah,
that usually happens quite a bit.
He wouldn't do the carbs.
You don't think he'd do the carbs?
Nah.
He bought low-carb bagels.
His hair's so nice.
Yeah, the low
It's
carb
crew cut is
This
bagels.
nice.
is the protein.
Jared's at least rolling his eyes. So let you know, Dan, if you thought you had someone on your side, it's still just you.
Let's just put it this way: enough low-carb bagels makes a lot of carbs. Just throwing it out there. And there was others in the room that did say he did have low-carb bagels.
Witnesses.
So, Biohacker Nation,
Let's
why
get the
don't
jury
you
official.
why don't you direct message us on Instagram, Facebook, send us an email to support@biohackhumans.com and let us know your thoughts and feedback on this one. Should we just shave it for the heck of it at this
Shave
point?
Dane or Save Dane?
I like that. Shave Dane or Save Dane.
The save or shave.
That works.
So let us know what you guys think, and I was going to say good luck to Dane, but I'm not sure that.
He
really
needs a little bit more
honest.
than luck at this point.
So we'll have you back on the show very soon, Dane, is what it sounds like to me.
Seek fat. Seek fat. man.
Seek fat, eat fat. Be skinny, eat fat.
Bacon and cheese.
Yum.
So we had a show to do, right?
Aren't we doing a show right now?
Yeah, so topics. Jared, you came in here and there was a couple things. I mean, obviously you're, well, trainer. You're interested obviously a lot in fitness. You've done this for a while. And you like asking questions. You've done so many times.
So,
You're not
Jared,
going to bite any on this. You're just going to stare and nod your head. Like, you do realize no one can see that you're really here. You do have to speak while we're on radio.
so let's just put it this way. The topics for today, we're going to talk about SARMS. SARMS is a
An acronym.
Selective Androgen Modulator. Pretty much says that you've got little receptors in your body, and scientists, yes, scientists, they have created these chemicals that seek out these little receptors, these little plugs, if you would, that have special shapes. And they've created different substances that seek out these shapes and only bind to those shapes. And by binding to those shapes, stuff happens.
It's a perfect puzzle piece.
It is perfect puzzle pieces. And they've been touted as being much better than steroids. Just come right out and say steroids.
I mean, big reason is due to the side effects are not really existing.
Right, steroids, and especially the abuse of steroids, which unfortunately so many do. You know, when steroids first came out, they were initially designed for health benefits, helping people with muscle wasting, certain diseases. And then when individuals decide that you can take them in large doses if you're perfectly healthy and have phenomenal results of growth, speed, stamina, endurance, and become a more supreme human being, if you would, physically speaking, they kind of ran with that. But then side effects happen as well because, well, you were healthy in the first place, so why start throwing a bunch of garbage in your body to begin with?
You know, your body does tend to make most of what you need to survive. It's kind of the whole point of having it. But, so yeah, the big idea is that you end up avoiding all the side effects that come with most of your typical steroids. The whole thing is to get specific to what type of receptors and where the receptors are. I at least have read a few theories. As far as I know, there's been nothing completely proving the idea of how it works, other than just seeing a bunch of the results. One of which is stopping the aromatase enzyme that is known to breaks down excess testosterone and estradiol, and then you start going into all those wonderful side effects, acne, man boobs, and all those wonderful things. Gynecomastia, to be more specific.
Gynecomastia.
Thank you, Jared. Good to have you. You're on the show too. Welcome.
I've heard some things about SARMs. Some people swear by them, some people hate them. To tell you the truth, more people have told me about side effects from SARMs than results.
Interesting. Like what?
Just not not a great sense of well-being, maybe not sleeping well at night, restlessness, but
Do you know if they made any other big changes at the time, like diet changes?
no idea at all. Just
It's start talking about the tough stuff, huh?
yeah, I mean, but then again, some people have great results. It doesn't work so great for everybody, It's like, I think it's a person-to-person case. Some people work well with these certain supplements, some people don't, just like foods. So, as far as if they're safe or if they're not safe, I don't know much about this stuff. I know people get results with them, but I know a lot of people don't like the way they make them feel.
The whole idea.
Some people love them, don't get me wrong. Listen, if it's not bad for you, and it doesn't hurt your health, and it actually increases your lean muscle mass, the amount of fat you burn at rest, and just all around health, hey, I'm all for it. But not if it hurts you. You might as well use the real stuff, right? I go for some SARMS, whatever the SARMS. I mean, people trying to raise their testosterone. If you have low testosterone, go get testosterone. That's what I suggest. I don't suggest you beat around the bush and think that you're natural because you go to your local vitamin shop and buy the latest pro hormone. You're not natural. So why don't you go talk to your doctor if you have low T? If you have low T, that means that you're under the normal range, and that at the end of the day, you're not as healthy as you should be. So if you can't raise it naturally, which you should definitely try and do first, go see your doctor. Talk about it.
What are some ways that you could actually, we're going to get into anti-aging in a little bit here, but what are some ways that you might suggest to raise it naturally?
Well, I could tell you firsthand that for me personally, when I met my buddy here, Jim,
Shout out.
and he put me on, taught me about the ketogenic diet. So I said, you know what, it sounds great. Everything about it sounds good. Let me just try it. Anyway, so I tried it. Whoa. Let me back up for a second. I went for a blood test, and my sugar was high. Then I knew my manager at Jersey Strong at the time, Jim, was a big fan of the ketogenic diet. So I said, Jim, tell me about this diet because I'm not eating sugar anymore. I don't want high sugar. I've never had health issues in my life, and I'm not about to begin having health issues now. So he told me about it. I started immediately. Fast forward, I don't know, 6 months later or 5 months later, I think.
That's close enough.
Fast forward, I got blood work done. Everything improved. My sugar was fine. My testosterone went up. I think from 5 something to like 520 to 675 or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, I can get the papers.
Decent jump.
So it jumped up, and even if it wasn't just the ketogenic diet, it was removing the processed foods and the sugars. Once you remove processed food from your life and the sugar from your life, it's just things just get better and better, man. You may suffer for a couple of weeks and cry, but we're adults. We're adults, so it's like, I mean, what's more important to you? You have to decide. Do you want to be healthy? Do you want to listen to the information out there? Do you want to understand that it's not a fad? There's a difference between a fad diet and science. Science has shown time and time again the benefits of the high fat, medium protein, very low carb diet. So anybody that knows me personally knows I love it. And anyway, I'm getting a little out, but my testosterone went up from doing that. So I would say you could try that if you don't want to try a ketogenic diet, or you'll just cut all the processed crap out and do an experiment on yourself and just see what happens. If the number goes down, go to your doctor. Tell him, listen, I'm trying everything. I'm doing everything that's suggested to me. And see what he says and take it from there. But you should definitely explore your options before you go just like taking some foreign substance, you know? Well, it's not very foreign, actually. But see your doctor.
And if you haven't turned on the ketogenic diet by Jim by any reason, please go to become a patron on the biohackhumans.com website and donate that extra $1 that you'd normally be buying for French fries. Just saying.
Did you say French fries?
Yeah, French
Yeah.
fries. Oh,
So not-
Jared.
French fries. All right.
Relax, man. Jeez. Ketosis.
So one of the things about SARMS is that it's pretty much linking to the same receptors as the old school steroids of dianabol and regular testosterone, and it's supposed to be minus the side effects. A couple of the different SARMs that are actually the most popular without the side effects, we've got ligand. All the SARMs here have these funky pharmaceutical names because if you see them on the internet, which is, I guess, where people end up buying them,
Gotta find something.
before the FDA ends up outlawing them. Where are they going with this?
Oh, the way they sound. Probably going more of the official sound.
That's right.
They
Yeah.
sound
Thank you.
very
Yeah, picking the way they do. I mean, marketing.
pharmaceuticals. They sound like pharmaceuticals.
So they're also labeled as not for human consumption. They're for research purposes only. So you may see researchers for only research. And some people think that that's just a way to get around it legally, which for some companies it is, but seriously, this is research type stuff. The majority and bulk of the research is done on laboratory mice.
Like how I said earlier, how there's theories of how this works. It means that we don't actually know yet. I mean, it's still progressive
Right,
science.
this is very, very base. Even though this stuff has been around since the 40s and started to become more controversial in the 1990s, nobody's really grabbed hold of it and started running with it until, I guess, more recently. And as more recently, it's evolving. But as it's evolving, it looks like the FDA may start to regulate it and then ban it and get it by prescription only, which could be good in some aspects because some of the stuff that I've been reading about is actually laced with testosterone and other pro-hormones and growth hormones, so you're really not doing the SARMS anymore. You're just taking the other stuff, so that's maybe where, Jared, that the guys you're talking to are getting the side effects because they're getting stuff laced with stuff that they're not looking to get.
This stuff is obviously not regulated, so I mean, you know what you are told you're getting. You don't actually know what you are getting.
Exactly.
So I mean, you always do have to be cautious on all this stuff. I mean, again, it's developing. We're not sure, and you're getting it from questionable places, most likely if you get it.
The LGD 4033, by the way, the liganderol, if you would, it enhances lean muscle and reduces body fat. It's been known
Makes
to be the creme de la creme at this point for those just looking to add mass for whatever reason that they want to add mass. And Jared, as a trainer, it kind of makes me scratch my head at times. My mind is in different places than a lot of people. A lot of guys just want to get yoked. They got no real reason why they want to get yoked. And then they start getting bigger. They don't change the diet, so they get these huge arms, skinny little legs, big old beer belly, but they got those arms that fell out the shirt, so they think they're awesome.
They're ripped, right?
And then they...
Best of shape.
Exactly. They don't lift consistently forever. They never develop the habits. They fade out of it. Their source dries up because, well, their source can only do it for so long. It's inevitable that their source will dry up. Let's just put it that way. And they stop. So what's the point of so-called getting yoked for such a short period of time instead of being lifelong with that?
There is no point.
There is no point.
There is no real point unless you're still a young kid
Okay.
and you don't even know or have a real understanding of goals. Like when you're a young kid, 14, 15 years old, you just want to lift weights. You just want muscles. You don't understand about programming and proper training unless you do. The rare few that do know how to train, the athletes that started at a young age. But other than that, growing up, there's no reason for it. We want muscles. We're going to the beach. We're going on vacation. I don't need legs. What do I need legs for? Girls don't like legs. They like arms or whatever it is.
So the funniest part is, you know how many girls actually I've heard laugh at guys? They're like,
course.
he thinks he's so big, but look at
yeah,
those
look
little
at
pencil
those
legs.
legs.
They don't tell the guys, but...
That's the truth of the matter.
Mm-hmm.
But in the young man's mind, he
Yeah,
just
but
wants
you
a
go
chest
somewhere
and
for the
arms.
biceps and chest.
We're talking about young guys now. They're not thinking about glutes, quads, and hams.
Another big one is called Ostrine, MK2866. It's very much like the LGD 4033. It sounds like we're taking orders here.
Sounds like some good stuff, if you ask me.
But it's pretty much just the same thing. It's just
Sounds
supposed to be
expensive.
not as potent. Stuff, depends on, I guess, where you get it from with
I'm saying,
anything.
it just sounds expensive.
Now, there are some stuff that's out there. This show is not just about getting yoked by any means.
No.
It's supposed to be more about science. So S4.
And just overall performance in general, as impressive as people that can, the weights we've seen some people throw, it's ridiculous. It's impressive, but no. Overall performance. But on this topic,
on day-to-day
with the science
performance.
of what
Now-
this actually does and what we know about it.
S4 is not a video game. It's actually called Andorine. This is a cool one because it's actually specifically designed to cure osteoporosis. And it's not going to produce the development of prostate and other secondary sexual organs. So there's a low virilization on this one.
Yeah, the same paper I do, Jim.
Yours looks more scientific, Michael.
You're questioning your own... go ahead, Jim. Never mind. Yes.
No,
good for osteoporosis.
Yes. And the other that I wanted to go on here was Rad 140. Like
Awesome.
1980s, early
I love
90s.
it.
Rad, man.
I love it.
This one here is one of the most current ones, and yeah, it does build muscle, but the one thing that it's really aimed at, other than the fact that it does this in mice, hopefully it does it in humans as well, is they actually use the word cure, which is very dangerous to use around here.
That's a big word.
Cure Alzheimer's.
Wow.
So if this SARM could actually cure Alzheimer's, pretty sure they're going to try to regulate that as fast as possible.
Yeah, watch a big price tag on that one.
$1 million per capsule. And
instead of just eating right, throwing a bunch of turmeric and other exercises. But okay, we'll go on that one. Got to make $1 somewhere.
Anti-aging is next, right?
Oh yeah.
Another one, cardarine. It's more of an endurance supplement. GW501516. Now, cardarine's not exactly a SARM, but guys like Ricky Gervais was giving Matt Frazier in the CrossFit Games last year a run for his... Excuse me, Ricky Gervais, the comedian. Ricky Gerard. I should probably hide his name because I'm sure he's a little embarrassed about the multi-year suspension. He was giving Matt Frazier a run for his money, was tested.
And what did they find?
Cardarine, also known as Endurobol. On the documentary,
as we're talking about this stuff, does seem to work, get a lot of muscle. There is a problem with it as far as the athletics go. It's illegal.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, because I don't think we actually touched on that, so anyone who knows, if you're going to be tested, this stuff is, it's a performance enhancer.
So, to all you junior high, because it's probably back there now, high school, college, professional athletes, anybody that is going to be tested, the World Anti-Doping Guidelines have SARMs and all these different substances listed. So if you're going to be competing, don't take them. Unless you're willing to risk the chance of having a multi-year suspension to which you're going to be out of shape by that point and most likely will never be able to compete again. Plus you will be ostracized by all your peers and you just won't be the same.
It's not worth the career, I was going to say change, but it's more of the death of it.
Yeah,
this is information, things that we're just getting out there. So maybe down the road be pharmaceutical because it does have a lot of good clinical aspects to it.
Yeah, it's not
osteoporosis
toxic.
is a huge one.
Huge.
And people just
before you take any supplements, email biohackers.
No, we're not going to.
No. Wait, you decided to talk now?
So, the benefits of SARMs, there's many. It's non-toxic. It's not going to be hepatotoxic, meaning causing liver damage.
That's a big one.
It's not going to have bone loss. Decreases the threat of prostate problems. Got a lot of similar effects with testosterone and no estrogen conversion. So
no reason to get been no big side effects of any real type on it.
Exactly.
It can help anything just from standard sarcopenia, which is where people as they age and have less muscle mass. So you just help you keep the muscle mass going as you age.
It heals joints better, and there's no post-cycle therapy that people have to do as well. And it's very selective for the tissues. So it's not like you just take something and hope it works, that one tissue, but it ends up working in all these others. It's selective. It's almost like there's a little homing beacon on it, and it floats around and gets the target.
I just thought of 8 NES games. So it's really probably that. If you saw me spacing out.
And another thing, it also inhibits cancer cell division, which is kind of big. There have been some research showing that with androgen receptors, they're known to play a pivotal role in the treatments of breast cancer due to the inability for non-steroidal SARMs to convert to estrogen. So there's a probability for negative repercussion. There's been results. There was a study in 2014 that confirmed tumor cells decrease in weight by 90%, but it may also even inhibit potential for breast cancer development. And it also,
quite significant.
Yeah, it's pretty huge. It's safe, it's tolerable. Everything I've read on SARMs, legitimate that I've read on SARMs, this seems to be pretty miraculous
I just want to clarify
stuff.
before when I said about all the negative effects.
So they're probably taking the underground.
I'm not saying but I'm not saying they don't work. I'm just saying some people don't like the way they make them feel.
We're talking lab tested, clean.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the pure.
Yeah,
yes.
The actual thing. Not laced with who knows what modality.
So many brands. Yeah.
So, I'm sure we're going to end up seeing it a lot down the road, probably pretty quickly. So, once they know that it works, money talks, they'll put a price on it, pharmaceutical.
Absolutely.
It's a pretty good thing.
Anything that works and it's safe, they take it.
So as of right now, I mean, I'm not going to say go out and rush to your local pharmacy. Thank you. I'll be here all night. But it definitely looks to be beneficial. But if you are going to be competing in anything, even if it's a local competition, like powerlifting competition, they test. So it's not worth it. If you want to be in the record books, if you just want your names down in the books, it's not worth it. So figure out what your goals are, figure out where you want to be, and again, it is research purposes only. So again, this is just information on it.
Extra disclaimers. Favorite thing on the show.
So let's talk a little bit about going from SARMS, we were talking about testosterone before, to some anti-aging.
Anti-aging, how to make us, well, feel younger than we are. It should be a goal of everybody. I mean, you want to live as long as you can, as healthy as you can.
Hope so. And if you're not, then you're depressed, and you need to go see a clinical psychologist. Just saying. I mean, why wouldn't you want to live as long as possible and enjoy life? Because it's short when you break down the scheme of things. I mean, so many people, they look at kids and say, "My, how big you've grown." Or they look back and say, "It was only yesterday that I was doing what you did." And you look back and for somebody that was like 50 years ago. So, I mean, I even look back now and since, Christmas, it seems like that was forever ago. I know in reality it's a short time ago, but somebody else talk, would you?
It was good that you go into a little soapbox, Jim, that's all.
I'm just going to start getting a little too philosophical here.
So, anti-aging.
So there's a few different categories of anti-aging.
Here, guys.
There's exercise. That
That's
helps
a
with
great
anti-aging.
one. Do it. It's typically free. It's very healthy. We talk about it all the time for a reason.
The biggest thing on anti-aging, as appears in the research now, is to reduce the age of your cells. And how do you reduce the age of your cells? You get these little things in your DNA.
Telomere talk.
Exactly.
Love
It's like we're on the same path, Doc. So, as telomeres shorten, it's almost like you've got this clock that counts backwards, and that's measured in telomeres.
Yeah, every time your cells replicate, this little, the telomere gets a little shorter. At least that's the idea of it. So,
Yeah, shorter
it tells you
shorter.
what your genetic age is.
And it seems that once your telomeres hit 0, time's up.
You're full of sunshine and rainbows.
So, doing certain things like exercising the right way, not like some people think, let me go to the gym and pedal like a mile an hour on a recumbent bike, or do 2 push-ups and that's exercise.
Man,
I mean, like, actual exercise. If you're not sure what to do, get a personal trainer.
I tell
Just
all
throw it
my
out there.
clients, man, I tell anybody that I train, I said, you have a busy life, right?
Of course.
Your time is valuable, right?
My time is extremely valuable, Jared.
Are you coming to the gym to socialize? If you are, that's cool. Are you coming to the gym to hang out? That's cool. But you're coming here to get results and you're not getting results. So make use of your time. Don't waste your time guessing, trying to figure things out. Do it the right way, learn it the right way, and train the right way.
Because you don't really get any results from exercise other than maybe a calorie or 2 burned unless you get that heart rate up.
For years.
So, if you don't have the technology, know exactly where you're at or know what you're doing. If you can talk while you're exercising, you're not exercising. I mean, if you're able to talk like this, you're not doing enough.
That's true.
You have to be huffing and puffing.
And on the flip side,
realize
you
it.
also do not need to be thrown up in a trash can or unable to get out of bed the next day.
You don't
should
have
be
to
able
be
to.
injured?
You don't have to be
If you
injured.
exercise, you got to be in pain all the time, right?
Well, it depends on your mentality. If you're me, that's one thing, but that's
Everything
not the
hurts
general public.
always.
Just
For healthiness.
For health, yes.
Performance is usually not healthy exercise, but that's do as we say, not as we do. Extra disclaimers.
But part of the whole idea of anti-aging, rejuvenation is another way to think of it. Anti-aging, sometimes people think of it as a negative thing.
Yeah, a flair to it.
It does. Calorie restriction. We talked about intermittent fasting before.
Mm-hmm.
With caloric restriction, it's been shown to slow telomere shortening. In certain countries where people are calorie deprived, they have longer lifespans than countries where people gorge.
It was a little dated back, but I read a paper a few years that was 1,600 calories or less. There was, I think, like a 15-year difference from those to the people who ate 3,000 plus.
It's huge.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite a... and that was mortality and life, healthy life living. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, living to 80 is great, but I don't want to be in a wheelchair at 40 from it.
True. There's also hormonal therapies.
It's a big one that's coming forward.
Exactly. There's a few different
kind of in
things.
line with what we were just talking about. Go figure the segment.
Exactly. So, growth hormone. Let's talk about that a little bit. Growth hormone is something that it's a substance released into our bodies every
Naturally
single day.
made.
Typically early in the mornings while you're still sleeping. You wake up. That's why you're typically not hungry first thing when you wake up in the morning, as long as you don't have a crap ton. That's my word, everybody.
Crap ton.
Crap ton, and if you're starting to use it now, you've heard it here first.
This is the first time
This is
anyone's
the
heard
poor man's
crap.
patent right now. But yeah, growth hormone levels dip as we age. And there is a correlation of growth hormone levels and age. That pretty much said it right there, duh.
Yeah.
So by increasing growth hormone levels, I'm not talking about so big that you start getting organomegaly, the big old brow, and just look like a genetic freak.
Reconstructed.
I'm talking about matching the hormone levels of, say, when you're in your mid-20s. A lot of physicians will take a look at your levels, the more old-school physicians of different hormones, including growth hormone here, and say, you know what, for a 70-year-old, that's perfectly normal, your levels are great, and you're feeling like you're a 70-year-old, and you're starting to act like a 70-year-old, and you're starting to kind of wind things down, start to really button up your will, move down to Florida. Not there's anything wrong with moving to Florida, but
You might as well feel good where you're moving there.
Exactly.
Hence, go ahead with things like the therapies to, again, like pretty much just to repeat what you said a couple of times, make you feel younger again, because that's really what we want. We can't stop aging, but we can really slow down the way we feel about it.
exactly. The antioxidants is another big one here.
Yeah, it directly causes cell damage.
No, oxidation does.
Yes.
You know what? Well, on the next podcast, let's talk about the research I did as well on too many antioxidants
Yeah, that was
in
a
the
good
wrong
one.
time. But by taking antioxidants, vitamins A, C, and E, the best way to put it is if there's a extra. Everyone remember those valence electron bonds from biochemistry?
I mean, I do. How about you, Jared? Trying to get
Jared's rolling his eyes, everybody. He still doesn't realize this is not a vlog; it's a podcast. But when there's an extra,
for radio.
you're supposed to have an even number of electrons in every single valence shell, and when there's an odd number, it's known as oxidation. So what ends up happening is you start getting a breakdown of the cell. So with these antioxidants, what they do is they lend another electron to balance them out, and
Get
creating a
another
more
break to
stable
rebuild
atmosphere.
the wall, make it healthier again.
Exactly.
So, yeah, hence the big thing with the vitamins.
Too much, and, well, you're creating an unbalanced valence shell. Just the right amount, and you're creating a more stable environment and healthier. Just saying. The hormone of melatonin, which is involved in sleep and your sleep cycle, the circadian rhythm, is a antioxidant as well. And it's associated with aging and life extension, actually. As we age, those levels also drop. So possibly, and again, this is possible. There is a lot of research on it. Most of it's done with mice.
But again, it's a building field. So everything we're saying is what the most recent things are, and it is looking quite promising.
Exactly. There are some therapies also on telomeres, and the therapies. There is the one diabetes drug.
Yeah, the diabetes drug.
This is not good.
Metformin.
Thank you.
Oh, jeez.
What is going on here?
So yeah,
Thank you.
metformin.
Metformin possibly may slow telomere shortening as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's big. So even those that do not have diabetes are starting to take metformin in order to possibly live longer. Now, one of the side effects of metformin is vitamin B depletion, and there's a crap ton of B vitamins.
Oh, yeah.
So a B complex would then have to be
Supplement and eat.
exactly.
Wow.
Now, berberine, which is a natural
That's a fun
supplement,
one.
tastes bitter, stains everything, so get a capsule form. I'm really, really suggesting you get a capsule form. It's messy. and does taste awful. But by
Yes.
supplementing with berberine, it's been shown to have the exact same effects as metformin without all the negative stuff. So far. And again, this is research, so tell
There'll
you
be
what.
a lot more coming out. We'll probably talk more about it once we. I mean, this stuff excites us. So when we hear bigger things about it, you'll hear about it too.
As I'm biohacking myself with berberine daily now for the past year, when I hit the age of 150, I will credit it to the berberine, and I will get on a podcast, and there's your case study. But until then, all we can do is do our best and do what we think is best for us. Do the best research we can, and just kind of go with it. If it makes you feel better, if you're truly believing, without contradictory evidence that what you're doing is right and it's not harming yourself in any way, give it a whirl. I mean, that's the whole idea of biohacking in the first place.
Do your research and ask competent people. I mean, there's papers here all over the place.
Everywhere. Stem cell therapy is receiving some widespread attention as well with anti-aging.
For all kinds of things. I mean, healing as well. I mean, stem cell research has been a topic for many years for good reason.
Yeah, any type there's a cellular dysfunction, throw some stem cells in there. They're even showing that taking healthy stem cells from one individual and putting them to another individual is healing those organs, the damaged organs, the organs that are aging, and those organs are then performing at the age of the much younger individual whose stem cells that they're receiving.
Also, it can be an anti-aging therapy for pretty much stealing someone younger stem cells.
Yeah.
There's the new black
Get
market.
permission. Get consent before you take stem cells.
But yeah, stem cells have been used in autoimmune disease, cardiovascular diseases, and again, a lot of the stuff still has to do with mice, but they're starting to, to do that in some humans.
Human trials are coming because it's looking
The
very promising.
only caveat that they're concerned about is that since stem cells do replicate and multiply cells, if there's cancer cells involved,
Tumors.
right. But we're keeping our fingers crossed on that one.
Also, you never know when it comes to dosage. That plays a big factor too. But we are not mice, so we'll see how that comes.
So there's a fun one here. This almost sounds like SARM. ALT-711. Yeah, you like that?
I love it, Jim. You have me on suspense right now.
Alright, it's one of the latest anti-aging compounds that's starting to receive public attention. It actually acts by catalytically breaking down the advanced glycosylation end product crosslinks, which everyone right now, after I just said that, saying, what?
He said words.
So what ends up happening, glycosylation, is, breaking down glucose.
Yeah, sugar. Get rid of it.
Which happens in arteries a lot of times. So ALT-711 is starting to seem to be useful against heart disease by reducing pulse pressure and improving arterial elasticity. Big plus. So people, fat does not cause fat, and fat does not cause cholesterol levels to build up so much they get heart disease, as all the research is starting to show. It's the sugar. So in this case here, ALT-711 is showing that it's going to start breaking down the sugar, and
it clears it out.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What's funny, Jared?
People try so hard to push the fact that sugar's so bad for you. People fight back so hard because they love it so much.
So that's what it is.
So addicted.
You're drilling right now,
Do
Jared.
you know what I mean? And it's like, it's ridiculous already.
Yeah, I mean, they've shown a lot of how it
it's
does
like
get to be an
it's
addictive
like,
substance.
how are you going to justify eating all that sugar? People brag about it. What are you bragging about at this point? There's too much information. It's like bragging about being a cigarette smoker. I smoke a pack a day. Nobody will say that. It's like saying I eat 3 bagels a day. Yeah, they're delicious, but I mean, come on.
Dane? Do you-
Dane?
Oh,
if they're low carb?
I tasted one of those, by the way. They're horrible.
Are they?
What? Are they?
I'd rather not.
He brags
eat them.
about
They're not good.
I
It's
want to
like
put
plastic
jelly
or
on
something. It's like plastic. It's just something to put. Make a sandwich with. Use a lettuce wrap.
We could talk about anti-aging therapies all day, and it may become a recurring topic and theme on the show because
Had a few of those already.
so much about biohacking is anti-aging. Living longer, living happier, living healthier, being smarter, preventing the breakdown, being on this earth for as long as possible to make the best contribution possible to the earth, and leaving something behind, leaving your legacy. And certain basics, not smoking, exercising properly, Jared's. I think he may have a slot open. I don't know. He might.
Have a couple
Jared's
slots.
hungry. He'll move some stuff around.
I'm moving around.
Moderate alcohol intake. Moderate. A glass of red wine at night is been shown to be beneficial. It's got the resveratrol in there, and it's not so much resveratrol because when people take resveratrol supplements, they have a crap ton more resveratrol in a glass of wine. It's really all about the polyphenols, which act as a antioxidant. It's kind of like having cacao.
So saying one glass of wine, Jim, what size is this glass?
Fishbowl. Oh, the glass you're supposed to have, not...
Yeah, sort of. Wine and tequila.
4 ounces is all I'm talking about, a normal wine glass there. But all the different types of foods, how they work, fruits and vegetables, again, people rave about fruits and all these designer fruits and...
Nature's dessert, right?
Yeah, again,
Delicious. The reason why they call it
sugar.
that. It is sugar. It is great. It is better than cake and pastries. However, it is still limited. It's sugar.
Why is it better than cake and pastries, do you think?
You limit it. There's pigments, there's some flavonoids, there's something into it. There's
There you
nothing
go.
in cakes
Yep.
and pastries.
That's all it is.
So, it's dessert.
Yeah, you have a
It is
handful of
good.
blueberries,
That's all.
you're getting some sugar, but at the same time, you're getting all the blue. And the blue is good for you. It does. The blue,
But I
It has
eating
many
mulberries
benefits
all the
for
time
it.
as a kid.
Since
Popping them in.
the more,
topic here,
the darker the color.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's all the polyphenols that are in the fruits that are helping out. The flavonoids, the more darker the color, if it's green, the darker the green, the better. But
Deep colors.
yes, but
Unpainted.
then again, if you start having fruit salads after fruit salad after fruit salad, 7 servings of it, you might as well just have dumped a cup of sugar in your mouth because that's what you're getting.
Same thing that everyone raves about honey, which has a lot of great stuff into it, but again, it's
Pure
basically
sugar.
pure sugar.
And remember, it's bee poop. Just don't have it is bee poop, and it is designed for bees to eat. It's actually for the queen bee, isn't it?
From the queen bee, I think.
For the
There's
queen bee.
royal jelly. That's
That's for the queen. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's why they call it royal.
Well, we went off a little bit there, but
We don't go off topic ever on this show, do we?
helps in your the organization level.
The one thing that I have found, and this is one of the most, I don't know, it has been researched. I was going to say unscientific, but it's not so much unscientific. It seems that people who live the longest have a couple things going for them. They have purpose, and they have joy. Those that are grumpy and have no purpose in life seem to have shorter lifespans than those that are surrounded by loved ones and or have extreme purpose in life because for some reason the mind keeps the body going. And the mind keeps the body going, they keep going. So imagine if you combine that with the phenomenal polyphenols, you combine it with your berberine, you combine it with exercise, nice glass of wine.
Force yourself happy. You do live longer that way.
Exactly. Your ALT 711, which you do not get at 7-Eleven. Just throwing that out there.
More great evidence brought
Much
to
better
light.
payoff in the end. You get a payback. The other way, you get paid back negative.
Those are wrapping up. I gotta ask you one big question, Jared.
Yes, sir.
After the show, are you starting to feel functionized?
Of course.
Functionized.
Of course.
So
Nice and fit.
the new thing that's going around now also is the term functionized. It's the
I'll have past this one. It's much better than crap time. Unless we hear functionized a crap ton of times.
so when you start to hear or experience something and you're starting to hashtag functionized when you do something awesome. When you just want to show the world, instead of keeping that 500 pound, 600 pound, 700 pound deadlift that you've been working your tail off for, hashtag functionized with it.
Just do your first backflip. You're functionized.
Exactly.
Lose 15 pounds.
Functionized. You compete in your first 5K. Functionized.
Cleaned up my nutrition.
Functionized.
Functionized.
Hitting the gym on a regular basis.
Functionized.
Working out properly.
Functionized.
The best anti-aging is nutrition and exercise first.
Functionized.
That's that.
All right, Biohacker Nation.
Okay.
I want to give a special thank you to Jared Rappoport
Thanks for having me, guys.
over at Ovox in Morganville. We appreciate you being here.
My pleasure. Anytime, guys.
And Dr. Mike,
Mad Scientist Jim?
this has been fun. I'm enjoying these days.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, look forward to them on Friday or whatever day you listen to this. They're fun.
Yeah.
So listen to them
definitely tune
frequently.
in,
And of
a
course,
lot of great
subscribe.
information.
If you like the information, help us let it get out there to more people again. Please just go up there, press that nice little button, subscribe.
Subscribe, and if you truly like it, we love that extremely honest 5-star review. Leave that 5-star review, and it helps us rank higher on Google Play and iTunes, so we can get around to more individuals, so we may hopefully entertain them, and most of all, educate them and have a little fun on their ride to and from work or just wherever they may be.
Good stuff.
Every time's a good time for biohacking.
All good stuff.
So, Biohacker Nation, for another week, we are out.
Bye-bye.
Peace out.